Video number 48. So here you are getting close to 50 videos going down the rabbit hole. And if you started at video number 1 and you're at this video, then I'm thinking that you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness who has seen that there are hundreds of thousands of people now all around the world being divided off from their families in a very unique and systematic way, being hated by their brothers and excluded by reason of God's actual name. And so, after recognizing that, evidence that any ex-Jehovah's Witness could see, especially with all the new videos being published on YouTube almost every day with another story from a disfellowshipped Jehovah's Witness, a story that I guarantee involves grief at having been separated from their family and excluded from their congregation, their brothers, their friends, and having to find a new home, perhaps even a new job. And here you are, you said, yeah, something I should examine more carefully. What's really happening here? Is what Jesus Christ said would happen really happening? Because this is what he said would happen. Families would be divided. And that unless we were indeed hypocrites, we'd examine this particular time. This time. Or what's the alternative? I guess the alternative is to do what the majority of the ex-Jehovah's Witness community is presently doing. They're saying, hey, it's just a cult. A bunch of reprehensible, evil men telling you lies and making false prophecies and flip-flopping doctrines with all kinds of duplicity that's easily uncovered. And so now that you're escaped from the cult, welcome to your freedom, because now you can live your life just like everyone else does. Isn't that the sentiment you get from watching those other disfellowshipped Jehovah's Witnesses who have, some of them have 50,000 subscribers subscribing to their belief? Welcome to your freedom. You're now free to do whatever it is that you want to do. So, not even recognizing that, hold on, I am being hated by my brothers. My name has been thrown out as wicked, cast out as wicked, and excluded by reason of God's actual name. So, did Jesus Christ come as a thief and do all these things? And if he did, then, oh boy, he's more powerful than any Christian could have ever imagined. Could he actually do it? And so, in the last couple of videos, I've talked to you about things that should make you tremble, and yes, indeed, you should. But on the other hand, it's promised. There's a promise that people would enter into his rest, the Sabbath, the 1,000 years living in peace, without Satan to interfere. There's a reason for rejoicing as well as for trembling. So, what do you do? If you are examining this particular time, that's a good question. What do we do now? We've been divided off from our families. And if Jesus Christ really is doing everything he promised he would do, then what about us? What's expected? So now I'm going to read Romans chapter 9, I'll start in verse 25 again. It is as he says also in Hosea, those not my people, I will call my people, and her who was not beloved, hated. Her who was not beloved, beloved. And in the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, there, in that place, they will be called sons of the living God. Imagine that. But why? Why would they be called sons of the living God in the exact same place where those same people said that you're not my people? Name of person is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You're not my people. So what changes here? What is it that has to happen in order for this prophecy to be true? That the people you've left behind in the kingdom hall would change their minds, and instead of hating, shunning, persecuting you, your own family, why would your own family have a change of heart and instead call you a son of the living God? Imagine that. So, if you're not examining this particular time, you wouldn't even ask that question. You just go backwards, be broken, ensnared, and caught. But if you did, if you're not a hypocrite and you examine this particular time, you have to ask that question. Why would those people, because it's the same place, in the place where it was said to you, they're going to call you sons of the living God. Why? Let's keep reading. Moreover, we're in verse 27 now of Romans chapter 9. Moreover, Isaiah cries out concerning Israel, although the number of the sons of Israel may be as the sand of the sea, it is the remnant that will be saved. For Jehovah will make an accounting on the earth, concluding it and cutting it short. The great tribulation. Also, just as Isaiah had said aforetime, unless Jehovah of armies had left a seed to us, we should have become just like Sodom, and we should have been made just like Gomorrah. So, Will the people that you've left behind in the kingdom hall, in the place where it was said to you, you are not my people, understand that if it wasn't for you, the seed, the remnant, if it was not for you, they would have become just like Sodom and just like Gomorrah, completely and utterly destroyed if it wasn't for you. So, what do you have to do in order to make certain that we don't become just like Sodom, and that we're not made just like Gomorrah? Because there's something that this remnant, the seed, must do in order for the people that we've left behind in the kingdom hall, in the place where it was said to us, you are not my people. There must be something that will cause a complete change of mind to those people we've left behind. So, what is it that will, if we don't do anything, will we become like Sodom and Gomorrah? And so, if we don't want to become like that, what is it that we should do? Good question, huh? So here it is it's in the book of Malachi. We're slowly working through the book of Malachi here, the last book in the Old Testament. And I'll read from Malachi chapter 4 and verse 5. Look, I am sending to you people Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and fear-inspiring day of Jehovah. He's going to hold an accounting on the earth, concluding it and cutting it short. Well, hopefully he does. Look, I'm sending to you people, Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and fear-inspiring day of Jehovah. And yeah, we should all be trembling, quaking at God's word. And he must turn the hearts of fathers back towards sons, and the heart of sons back towards fathers, in order that I may not come and actually strike the earth with a devoting of it to destruction. Unless Jehovah had left a seed to us, we should have become just like Sodom, and we should have been made just like Gomorrah. So is that what you're getting from going down this rabbit hole while you're examining this particular time? So, how do we stop? Or how do we how do we stand in the gap and stop the entire earth from being destroyed, from becoming just like Sodom and being made just like Gomorrah? It all has to do with a wholesome family unit. So do you see why people, your fathers, your families, or if you're a father, you've left sons behind in the kingdom hall? Do you see how it's up to the seed, this small remnant, to turn their hearts back towards their fathers? Or fathers to turn their hearts back towards their sons and help them understand these things. And so how could any of you help your fathers or your sons or your daughters? Remember, it says, her who was not beloved. Her. What about if you're a woman in the ex-Jehovah's Witness community, not beloved? You could also turn your heart towards your husband or your sons and your daughters, your family, your domestics, and help them understand that we'll become just like Sodom, and we'll be made just like Gomorrah, unless they can see through Satan's truly unrighteous deception. And if you can do that, if you could actually do that, when Jesus Christ appears, would you have a gift offering? Would you bear fruit? Would you continue bearing fruit and have something to bring with you into God's kingdom? 1,000 years of peace without any interference from Satan. So if you observed Jesus Christ's commandment, you in turn are to bear witness. Can you see how that might happen? Can you see how the people that you've left behind in that place where it was said to you, you are not my people, can you see how they might now change their minds and say, change their minds and call you, instead of shunning you and persecuting you and hating you? Can you see how they would instead call you a son of the living God? Unless Jehovah had left a seed to us, we should have become just like Sodom, and we should have been made just like Gomorrah. So if you're examining this particular time, Do you see why there might be rejoicing on your part when Jesus Christ does appear and you have a gift offering ready to present to him? And then perhaps we won't be made just like Sodom or Gomorrah. So if you do that, then you're participating with Jesus Christ, chosen, selected to participate with Jesus Christ in the harvest at the conclusion of the system of things. Because it's not just Jesus Christ and his angels who do the separating. We are being chosen and selected to participate with him. And the angels, they're just the same as us, slaves, doing what they're commanded to do. You, in turn, are to bear witness. And so, if you bear witness to these things, everything you've learned so far in the last 48 videos, can you see how that might happen? And are you thinking of ways you could explain this to the people you've left behind? You should by now have an enormous number of ways. Convincing evidences concerning sin, concerning righteousness, the truth, and most definitely concerning judgment. And if you pay these things forward, can you see how you will indeed bear fruit and have a gift offering? And that gift offering will enter into the millennium, God's kingdom, and live for 1,000 years in peace. Do you see why they might change their minds? And instead of persecuting, shunning, reproaching you, they'll instead call you sons of the living God. And through this means, you'll conquer Satan and help them also to do the same. And recognize that it's only due to God's mercy that any one of us might now be saved, because we were all deceived through a truly unrighteous deception perpetrated by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society with its governing body. And so now we're being hated and excluded by reason of God's actual name. And yet, we're the ones who should rejoice when he does appear. And the family that you have now left behind in the kingdom hall, if they understand these things that we should all be observing and giving witness to, bearing witness to, in order to conquer Satan, do you see why they'd call you something very different. A son of the living God. And so, if you're not examining this particular time and seizing this opportunity and participating with Jesus Christ as a person selected, chosen by Him, then do you see why? Simply because people didn't want to hear or listen? Do you see why they might go backwards, be broken, ensnared, and caught? Simply because they didn't examine this particular time when hundreds of thousands of people are being divided off from their families and hated and excluded by reason of God's actual name. Name of person is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Excluded by reason of my name. Can you see the kingdom? And do you see the enormous blessing that's reserved in the heavens for you? The sons of the living God. To him that conquers, he will inherit all these things. An inheritance, a reward reserved in the heavens. And he will be God's son. Do you see why? It's amazing. And it's all due to God's mercy. It wasn't your decision. It was God's decision to select you to participate in union with Jesus Christ, to participate in the harvest, harvesting the wheat and bringing that wheat into the storehouse, ready to enter into God's kingdom. Do you see why the righteous ones will shine as brightly as the sun in the kingdom of their Father, God's kingdom? And it's all about listening, examining this particular time. Let him who has ears listen. Are you listening?